making sure we're streaming here. Till we're streaming, I can't come back to you yet. Bear with me 1 minute. Done. All right, beautiful. Welcome everybody to our Zoom or our YouTube page. I know a lot of people, most people watch this in recording. The reason we do this live on Zoom is so when we take questions, you can ask questions. On YouTube, you can't ask questions. You can ask amongst other people watching, and you can leave a comment, but that doesn't allow you to get real-time answers. So anyway, RVP Go-Getters. Monday, 2/19/24. We're going to talk about our comp plan philosophies on this. I've got stuff on the whiteboard, but I want to go over some stuff with you. You know, we're about to launch our new compensation plan details. And as I look at it, there's a lot of pages, right? And some people say, man, there's so many pages. And or there's a risk someone may say that. No one said that to me yet, actually, but it's one of my concerns because in our attempt to simplify, but the only way to simplify further is remove some of the bonuses that are very important for your long term. I mean, you can say things easier. You can say something in 3 sentences instead of 5, but then we get 10 questions a week at support. And so, you know, just so you know, as leaders, I want you to know this. Everything in our comp plan has a strategic design. It's from things we've experienced by building and reaching points where we get frustrated that we're working with people on our 20th level and not earning on it, or where we help 3 other leaders get to our same rank, so we're cut out of infinity pay. So we have to come up with a way to keep rewarding you as a leader when you've got 2 people in your downline at the same position as you. Personal bonuses. You know, why do most people in the home-based business space buy their minimum qualification and stop there? Because there's really no incentive to get more. They bought their qualification. They've got their $200 qualified. So why do more? I'm already qualified for every bonus if I got $200 worth of customers. So, you know, why do we have stair step? So I want to go through each little bonus, the gamification of it. I think you'll appreciate this. I do. I get excited when I think about every little paragraph in our comp plan, the reason it exists, because I know the benefit of it and how it's part of helping to trigger the right human emotions. Yeah, I remember playing pinball as a kid back in the 70s before digital video games come out. And there were dings and bells and, you know, the flipper noise and the ball and but going the bumpers. But the best sound of all, when you won a free game, it had a knock. It had a name, like a knock on the thing. And it was real loud. And everyone in the game room could hear, you just won a free game. Now they got, you know, all kinds of whistles. Video games have points. Everything we do is gamified because human nature tries to reach higher levels over and over. If you're a weight trainer, you're trying to get a personal best. If you're a marathon runner, you're trying to get a personal best. Everyone's striving. So we want to employ the same hunger here. And every time Matt DeHame is 10 days away from losing his triple amped or double amped or amp status, it does something internally. We're not trying to apply pressure. We're trying to apply fuel. And anytime someone is trying to reach the next rank because of all the benefits they get at that rank and they're a little short, they push coming into the end of the month trying to accomplish it. It's just like if you're running a 5K and you're running with your friend who you love and you're running together to get in shape and you're in the last 200 yards and they've got you by 10 strides, you either surrender right then or you get it, everything you got to run those next 100 yards to try to catch that buddy of yours. It's the competitive nature. So I want to go through each one of these little bonuses. I've got triggers on the whiteboard here so that you can understand. So when you're promoting it, this is not just so you go, okay, I get it. It's because you want to understand what these things exist for. So when someone says, I don't understand coding, you can explain the benefit of coding is 1 sentence. They don't have to understand it all, but they got to understand why we have it. The benefit of compression in the 7-level pay plan is what? It's boom. Why do we have to get 2,000 residual revenue to get that 7-level bump up or to get to 50%? The reason we do that is boom. Why is amped up only last 30 days? The reason we do that is boom. So I want to give you those answers right now. Write notes on these so that this is not a comp plan training. This is a comp plan philosophy discussion so that you can understand why the things exist and then be glad they're in our comp plan details. So that you can be grateful that it's not just a 7 level, 5% on every level. And if you build 30 levels, sorry, we only pay 7 levels. And yeah, we know not a lot of people in your team are getting revenue because there's no reason for them to get more. So rather than simplifying it to the point where it doesn't protect you long term and it caps your income and you can never make more than a certain amount because your team stops at 7 levels and yeah, not many people are getting customers. When you have a plan like that, you realize we got to put some drivers in the driver's seat and there's no reason for them to drive. I know people in this industry right now who have 100 levels deep, doing millions below their 8th, 9th, 10th level, and they have no reason to work with those people. And they're only getting paid on maybe 500,000 in revenue, and they're doing millions in revenue. And they're expected to lead all the people. It's pretty hard to do to work for free just because they're in your team. But if you don't get paid on it, and the people who are getting paid on it are sitting on the bench, it's hard to do. So I want you to understand these philosophies. You better be able to explain these. So take notes. If you're a leader, you need to be able to understand this and be bold for it and step up and actually share it. Otherwise, there's no value to have it. It is better to just go back. Okay, we just want a simple way of explaining this in simple matters. And we do have simple ways, but you got to understand the depth of why do all these things exist? And I love when leaders come in and say, you don't need to have all that stuff. And I go, then you've never built a big team because this is for people. Maybe it's only 5 people will care about equity sharing. Maybe it's only 5, but those 5 will leave the company if we don't have it. And they're the ones who created enough to do millions of dollars in revenue. And maybe you don't care about compression because you've never built a big team and never had active levels and said, man, most of my revenue is beyond inactive people. I don't even get paid on. They're not doing any revenue, but they count as a level. That stinks. Until you've had that, you don't realize why we have all these things. So I'm assuming this is nothing but leaders here who've said they're going for RVP in 1 year. And your team building, one of the tools you need to have is the ability to articulate the philosophies of our pay plan, even if you've never experienced them. You got to be able to articulate the philosophy of our funding, even if you don't own a business. You got to be able to articulate the pharmacy card, even if you don't take prescriptions. Right. So you also need to be able to articulate each little benefit of our comp plan, even if you've not earned it yet, because leaders want to know and need to see these things. I would not join a company that did not have coding because I've built groups and got cut out of them because they got too big. So I wouldn't join a company without coding. I would not join a company without revenue sharing. Wouldn't do it because I know I may be 40% of the company's revenue one day and the owners get wealthy and I built it and I don't share in any of it. That's not fair. And so there's all kinds of things in here that are for your benefit. So I want to go through these. It's not real complex. And I'm going to end it with 2 little steps, 2 little simple things to keep in mind of our comp plan philosophy. But let's get started. We're going to start, first of all, with 2 of the main triggers in our compensation plan, which is personal customer acquisition residually and personal customer acquisition bonus-wise. Okay, so let me unblur this. All right. So the first thing we're going to talk about is right here. Sorry about the lights. We'll get better lighting eventually. Personal residual customers. If you remember, we've got a stair step. It goes from 0 customers and 0 residual revenue all the way up to 2,000 residual revenue, right? And you get benefits as you get more personal residual revenue. This is your personal residual revenue. From 0 all the way up to 2,000, as you get more, you benefit more. Of course, you earn more because you have more revenue, but I mean, what you earn goes up. Remember, you go from 20 to 50% earning on your residual revenue. If you stay just down in the low end, you only make 20%. You never make more. But as you move up, you can get 50% of your residual revenue. So every dollar of RR you got, you get 50% of instead of only 20. So there's an incentive. Now, why do we have that? Well, most companies out there, you can fuel a pay plan by startup fees or by personal purchases. So network FTC frowns on that. FTC shuts companies down for incenting upfront recruiting and paying out bonuses on that when there's no real attempt to acquire customers. or if most of the customers are participating in the plan. That's why you don't recruit 12 and sign them up as your personal pharmacy customers and go, cool, I got 12. And you recruited 12 reps and now they're in the system, but they're a customer of yours. That's a violation of FTC. Maybe not in Australia, but it is here. So you can't recruit a bunch of people and take them as your customer. That's a violation of FTC rules. You have to get your own personal customers who are not participating in the plan. All right. That's an FTC requirement. So if in other companies, they allow you just buy $200 on auto ship, buy $200 worth of skincare or nutrition. And you're now paying to play, basically, we call it pay to play. That's what the FTC calls it. You're paying to play. The prices are overpriced usually because you got to fund a pay plan upline. With us, we don't have any personal purchases and we're not going to violate FTC rules because that risks your long-term future. There's people making 100 grand a month in this industry and know that could be shut down at any time because they know their company's violating FTC rules, but they're going to keep taking the money until they get shut down, or maybe they never will, but they're not going to just walk away from all that income, right? So with us, we're not going to set you up to have that risk. We're not having that risk. So what we do is we say you must get personal customers. Well, knowing that, we got to give an incentive for you to do more than just the minimum. Most people will just do the minimum, but we're going to reward the heck out of those who go above and beyond. Why? Because it's an example of leadership, and it generates comfort level to teach. If you've got 2,000 residual revenue, you have no trouble sharing with people how to get customers. If you don't even have 100 yet, you don't know how to get customers yet. Right? So you can parrot what we're saying, but until you know it, you don't have it. So the number one thing we have in all of our pay plan stuff is the incentives for personal customer getting, because you earn so much more. What do you get? Why? You earn more higher personal percentage, not just income, but your percentage goes up from 20 to 50%. That's an incentive. Okay. Number two, you get higher enroller bonuses, which actually encourages people more than anything, is the amount you make on your team goes from 20 to 50%, actually from 0 to 50% of what you earn on your personally enrolled agents of what their base commission is, 0 to 50%. So you need to have at least customers to qualify and not get 0, right? You got to get to 200 residual revenue just to participate in enroller bonuses after your first 90 days. For 90 days, you don't. But after that, you at least have to have 200. So if you're sitting with me and you're informing me, hey, for your first 90, you get 20% enroller bonus. But after that, you need to be at 200 residual revenue or you don't earn enroller bonuses. Now, is that not a human nature incentive? If you don't know that, you don't share that, they don't qualify. So you need to share it with them. These are triggers. That's like you get a free game if you get 200 points. Enroller bonuses, we don't have to have. We already have level 1 pay. We have level 1. You get level 1 at 50 residual revenue. Enroller bonus can get you 0 to 50% more, in addition to your 25% that you get on level 1. So this is an extra credit. Bing, you get 200 residual revenue. You get this real cool sound. You now get enroller bonuses of 20 to 50%, as long as you stay at 200 or above, in addition to your 7-level pay. So this is a bonus that you have to qualify for. After 90 days, you need 200 residual revenue. You need to know that. That inspires me. Harlequin Murray right now has a little, they've got a page called 50 and 50, and on there she's got a countdown. I think it's at 105. That's how many days you have left to qualify for your 7-level pay bump if you started before May of last year. Because that's an incentive. That's like, you got to know about this. You don't want to miss out on that 7-level pay for life. So you, just like this, you don't want to miss out on a roller. Get the 200 residual revenue within 90 days so that you have that. Now, if you're not telling people that in your training, in your overviews, yeah, you're more simple, but you're incomplete. You're simple, but you're inaccurate. You're not utilizing all the benefits. Oh, you've made it easy, but you didn't tell me about this. Now I'm pissed. Well, David, it's in the video overview. I know, but you told me my plan was this. You never mentioned one time that I got to get to 290 days. So these are the things that you want to know. 7-level bump. By getting to 1,000 residual revenue in your first year, you get a 7-level bump. As long as you retain that, you don't get it unless you stay there. And we have a grace period. If you fall below 1,000, you got to get it back within 90 days or you're out of the bump. Why do we have that? Because it's to get good customers that stay on the service. And if you got a lot of good customers that stay on the service, you don't stop at 1,000 because you may risk losing it. You keep going and you try to get to 2,000. You don't stop. Now, the performers will do this and we pay them more than we earn. Do you recognize this? Why do we do this? Why do I pay more on fundings to Matt DeHane when he's triple amped and Nick DeHane when he's triple amped? Why do I pay them more than we earn? Because if we don't have people putting up a lot of customers, I can't go to the lenders and say, we need this kind of deal. Do you realize that the people who are getting a bunch of customers make it easier for you to sell, even if you only get one customer? Why do we get such a great commission from our pharmacy partners? Why? They're providing the pills, the plastic, the shipping, the customer service, the pharmacy. All we got to do is get someone to say yes to a membership. And why do we get paid so much that we can pay out so much? Because of our volume of customers. And we don't have volume of customers without incentives like this. So why do we do this? Because we actually produce volumes. Without incentives like this, people can go, I don't need to get 200. Why would I have to get 200? What am I going to make? $40 a month. Woohoo! I don't have a group yet. So why should I go get 200? I don't even have 7 levels of people. I don't need 200 yet. Woohoo! But when your frontline's doing some work and you're missing out on a bonus override because you haven't gotten a funding customer and you're not at 200 residual revenue yet, because this gives you higher enroller percentage on your residual and it qualifies you for enroller percentage on your funding. You need 200 residual revenue. So 200 gets you an enroller and it also gets you enroller on fundings, even if you've never got a funding. So you need 200 like now. Within 90 days, you better have 200. That drives our company. Because if you got 100 reps starting, 100 people know that, guess what? 30 of them qualify for it. And now you got 6,000 in revenue coming in every single month that'll never go away because of an incentive for 290 days. And you don't tell people. So this is why you need to know this so that you tell people this. You don't just go get training, get customers. You inform them, hey, did you see the comp plan? You haven't seen the plan yet, but you'll see the plan. Is you want to reach X rank by a certain period of time and help your 3 reach that rank in a certain period of time. So in 90 days, you have at least 200 residual revenue. You got to do that. Why? Boom, boom. That's why. You get higher enroller, you're qualified for enroller number 1. After that, you're not. And you get enroller on funding, even if you've never got a client. That's why. So these philosophies add extra paragraphs to your comp plan documents. They add extra time to your explanation of the game plan, but they also drive the heck out of a company's revenue. You don't just stumble your way to success. You strategize, you formulate a plan, and you implement the plan. Okay. So you get the 7-level bump. Why do you got to stay at 1,000? Because we want you to get 1,200 to 1,400. This costs us a ton of money to pay this out. And so we want you getting 12 to 1,400. Why? Because you'll teach all your brand new people better. And because it helps us produce more. If we just had 1,000 people reach this, what's 1,000 times 1,000? What's 100 times 1,000? 100,000. What's 1,000 times 1,000? 1,000,000. We got $1 million in revenue just from those 1,000 people getting to 1,000. What if you had 100 people in your team do this? You're making 6 figures a year no matter what. If you have 100 people do this, you're making 6 figures no matter what. But if you don't tell 100 people to go for this and you don't help them qualify for it, and you don't keep it front of mind, you may get 1 or 2 who read the details themselves and without your leadership go, that's too big to miss. I'm going to get that. Okay, so these things here are critical to help you. Give me a reason to get to 1,000 because personal commissions aren't that much. What are we going to make? $600? Oh, on 1,000, I'm going to make $400. Woohoo! Do I really want to get? No. What you're going to miss out on if you don't get to 1,000 could be 4,000 a month in commissions on your 7 levels. It could be 2,000 a month on your 7 levels. It could be 30,000 a year if you don't get to 1,000 in revenue in your first. It will be a lot more than that for some. So it's not about what you make for getting to 1,000. It's what you miss out on You don't get that if you don't get to 1,000. And that is a huge bump, 20% raise on your 7-level pay. If you're just making 1,000 a month, it's 2,400 a year it's going to cost you because you didn't go do this. So what did you make on that? Getting 1,000 customers, 2,400 more a year is what you made. So don't think of just, oh, wow, at 1,000, I make, 40% now. Woo, 400 a month. Ooh. No, you miss out on 7-level bump. And you can't leave the company and come back to start requalifying for it. We're not going to allow you to move people around and move positions to get yourself requalified. We don't allow gamesmanship like that. So 7-level bump is not on your board. You didn't get to 1,000. So you see why we have these things. This is a fear of loss. You lose out on something here by not getting there. We need real revenue. We need real customers. So we're going to pay you a bunch if you do it and give you a big incentive to get there. Higher commissions by doing this, higher enroller bonuses by moving up this ladder, and 7-level bump by moving up this ladder. Do you get why now we have that ladder? Without it, does anyone have to do revenue? So they need to know about these two, all three of these they need to know about. If your plan, I don't want to share that. It's too complicated. I want to be able to cover this in 5 minutes on a phone call. Okay, that's great if it's an introductory, but when is your follow-up phone call to cover this? Because if you don't have a follow-up to cover this, why are you in this business? You won't duplicate leaders. You'll stumble on people who make good money. But most of the people won't do a whole lot of revenue. You get a lot of $20 and $30 revenue people. 10, nothing more. Personal funding activity, personal bonuses. We'll call it one-time funding. Funding is our biggest one. Relevate, I guess, could be included in this, but personal funding activity, you getting personal customers. And why do we have new active client requirements and active client requirements? So new renewals or new who've never been here before. Why do we give such a big bonus? What's the benefit? If you get funding clients, number one, you can start to participate in overrides. So yes to overrides beyond your first level. Once you've got funding customers, without them, no overrides. Well, I don't want to focus on funding. You never have to. You just won't get overrides on your team when they get fundings. You can't. We don't make it available unless you're willing to do this. Why do we do that? Because this is a big burst of money to the company. The same reason most companies charge fees to start. It brings money in to helps the company be strong and strengthens the commissions. We've paid out a lot more in commissions through these than we have these. And even when we're doing 20 million a month in residual revenue, we're gonna have so many reps, we'll probably still be paying out almost as much through bonuses, one-time bonuses, as all those residuals, right? So we are going to incent personal customer activity by, number one, giving you higher personal commissions. From 40%, you can get up to 80%. You can double your pay. Or if you're looking at fundings, from 4 to 8%. Instead of making 4% on a funding, you can get up to 8%. How? Get personal clients. Why do we give that incentive? So that you stay active getting customers. So that your team stays active. So if I'm in your team, if you have 10 of us, and we all know this, do you think we're more apt to try to get a customer every 30 days if we know this? If we know that I got to get a new client every 30 days to move up this ladder? Yeah, if you have 100 people in your team, don't all 100 need to know about this? That doesn't mean they'll qualify, but they need to know. Don't all 100 need to know about this? They may not qualify, but they need to know. They won't shoot for it if they don't know. They may not make it if they do, but they'll shoot for it. They may not make it to 80% if they know about this, but they may shoot for it. So both of these have an incentive that your team needs to know about. Higher enroller pay. Do you know that if you're amped up, I'm going to get rid of overrides here. If you're amped up, you make 50% enroller pay. And how do you get amped up? Just get a new client in the last 30 days, a new qualifying client, 600 revenue or more, 600 bonus revenue or more. A new client, you're 50% enroller bonus. So what did you make on your new client? You got a $10,000 client. You're like, big deal, I made $400. Yeah, but someone personally enrolled, made 2,000, you made 1,000 on their client. This one made 4,000, you made 2,000 on their client. This one made 500, you made 250 on their client. This one, the next, what does your frontline team make? I don't know, but you want to make 50% or zero? because you make zero after 90 days, unless you have 200 residual revenue or you've got new clients. We've got engaged, which is 25%. And this is not a training. This is just a philosophy. We got engaged, which gives you 25% enroller pay. It means you got a client in the last 60 days. It's one way to be engaged. The last 60 days. So do you want 50%, 25%, or zero? Man, someone on the front level made $3 grand. What'd you make? I made nothing. Why do you make nothing? Because I'm not qualified. Why aren't you qualified, dude? I didn't know. No one told me. My enroller just said, go out and get 10 customers and do 3 of these. They never mentioned anything about enroller bonuses. Well, why didn't watch the comp plan training? That's long. It's an hour-long training. Well, yeah, because you need to know about this and this and this. And you need to know about this and this. So you know your first 2 activities are within 90 days, I got to get the funding and I got to get 200 residual revenue. That's what I got to do in 90 days. I don't care if I ever build a team. I got to do those 2 things no matter what in my first 90 days. Why don't you know that? I didn't watch the comp plan video. My enroller never mentioned it. They just said, go get 50 customers and you'll make 25 bucks. Well, did they ever tell you why you need 200 residual revenue? Did they ever tell you why you want to get a funding, get amped up right away? So you need to know why these philosophies exist, because if you got 5 front lines and you show me this, guess what I'm doing? I need to be amped up. Because even if I get for the first 90 days, I'm going to show you the enroller for a minute. Here's you. Here's someone you enroll. For your first 90 days, you get 10% of what they do in funding. You get 10% personal commission, enroller commission, I should say, on their base bonuses. You get 10%. It's your first 90 days. What if this one gets $100,000 funding in your first 90 days and they make $4K? They make $4,000. You make $400. Woohoo! You could have made $2 grand just by getting a client, being amped up. Do you want to make 10%, 25, or 50? Which one do you want to make? Or zero? Fortunately, for the first 90 days, you make 10 no matter what. But after that, if you don't have funding clients, you're not at 200 residual revenue, you don't earn enroller bonus. This guy can make 50 grand this year. You make zero. So why, when Matt DeHame stays amped up and Nick DeHame, who he enrolls, makes the funding and makes $3 grand, Matt gets 1,500 on it. Plus, he's got overrides. He almost makes what his son makes, because he keeps getting personal customers. You see why he wants to keep getting customers? It's not just because you earn higher on your own. It's the enroller bonuses, because you never know when someone you personally enrolled is going to pull off a $50,000 or $300,000 or $60,000 renewal, funding. Something's going to come through the books, and you're not qualified for it. So there's 2 triggers. Get to 2,000 and retain it. Keep getting more. Get to 2,000. Why? Because you get everything then. You get the highest of everything. You get 50% enroller bonus on residual. You get 50% personal commissions, and you get 7-level bump. You got everything. Check, check, check. You got them all. So you get there and stay there. Funding, you get 1 new client a month. 1 new client a month. You just got to do it. 1 new funding client a month. You'll get big commissions yourself, and you'll always be amped up. In fact, you'll always be triple amped, but you'll always be enroller amped. You're qualified for everything. Not only that, you'll get more overrides. So these things here are the triggers of our company. Without these 2, what you've just heard, these are the main drivers. This is the fuel. You know, some of you know I've got a Tesla. Don't hate me for it. I did not realize all the haters till I bought one. I'm a lover of them. I think they're amazing. I love gasoline vehicles too. I've got a bunch of them on my driveway. And so don't worry about them. I'm a Corvette enthusiast. So I love horsepower. I love all that. Don't hate me. But what I love about my Tesla, it's got all extra motors. I got some add-on thing. It's called Plaid. And Plaid, don't know what it means by Plaid, but I do know that it's got extra motors. So each one of those are drivers. Each one goes, so I push the gas pedal down, and because I qualified at Plaid, ting, ting, because I got that little designation, ting, ting, Tesla motors have a little trigger called Plaid. And all I got to do is go into my laptop or my computer or my app and say Plaid instead of Sport or Comfy or whatever the terms are. I click Plaid, and I'm qualified for 4 things. And all the motors go. And if I just push the gas down that much, it's for the same effort, there's my gas pedal. For that same effort, I'm gone. It just takes off because I've got all the triggers. For the same effort, once you get here for the same effort in your team's just doing $1 million in residual revenue, but instead of you making maybe 20,000, you're making 40,000. Instead of your 7-level pay being 10,000 a month, all of a sudden, boom, it's 13,000 a month. Same activity for you, but you triggered all 4 motors. You got yourself a 2,000 residual revenue, and you're getting a new client. Dave, I don't want to get funding clients. You never have to. Just know that you're walking away from big upfront bonuses personally, people you enroll, and people in your team, because some of them are going to focus on funding. So you never have to do it. I'm not a skincare fan, but I was in a company a long time ago that they said, if you don't sell at least $200 worth of skincare, you don't get paid on skincare. I'm like, they allowed you to buy it, so I just bought it. I stockpiled boxes and boxes of $200 worth of skincare every month. I was 23. I didn't need serums for my eyes that didn't probably work anyway, but they sure paid a good pay plan. You see why we don't do certain things. You got to go get customers. But if you're not going to get funding customers, you shouldn't take bonuses from the people above you who are, because you're earning overrides as you get clients. And we're not going to give you that override if you're not even leading it or training it or teaching people to do it. If someone above you is, those overrides should go right up to you or right past you to them. And so that's why we do it. We're going to pay the performer, not the person who's posturing. We're going to pay the person who's performing. Okay. So these 2 drivers are the biggest drivers. Now, we have ranks in our pay plan. Why do we have ranks? So that you have a reason to look at your team and go, okay, I need to have this leg here doing a certain amount of revenue, this leg here, and this leg here. And I'm going to go get more. The more legs I have, legs are people you've personally enrolled. The more people I personally enroll, the more I can earn in enroller bonuses, and the more my team can mature. And as my team matures, I get other benefits. What are those? I get overrides through infinity beyond 7 levels. I get coding pay. Let me just say, why do you need overrides? Because your team will grow beyond 7 levels. It'll grow beyond 7 levels. So you want to earn, if you're the first person at the rank above them, you're the first person at area director rank. So you're area director and there's no one area director below you. You get paid your entire team through infinity. Every person in your team, you're going to make a percentage of what they make in addition to your 7-level pay, in addition to your enroller pay. This is an extra bonus for reaching the area director rank or above. It's called an override. Open line, meaning your entire team not under someone at the same position as you. If someone else breaks area director, they now get that override. We give you a 2nd-level override. Why? Because you aren't yet mature enough in a team at area director to make big pay. We don't want it to be eliminated. We don't want your check to go from 1,000 to 300 because someone else broke area director. So we have a 2nd-level area director too, which allows you to mature your team out a little bit more. So that not just the first area director up the line gets this override, but the second area director, you get some too. But all your other legs, you're still the open line area director. You get through infinity. So overrides matter. They give you a reason to reach higher ranks, and they give you a big jump in your paycheck if you're leading the pack, if you're getting to those ranks before the people in your team. Now, if you get there after them, they've already got the overrides on their team, right? So overrides is huge. Coding. I wouldn't join a company that didn't have coding. And anyone who's ever had it knows why. It's difficult to explain. People say, I've had people tell me you shouldn't offer that because most people don't understand it. They're right that most people don't understand it, but they're wrong that you shouldn't offer it, because it gives a leader who's doing $5 million a month in revenue to leave the company because they've been cut out of all their pay and they're only paid through 6 or 7 levels. I know people right now make 100 grand a year in this industry. And if they're in a company and 100 grand a month, and if they're in a company with coding, they'd be making $1 million a month, and they're frustrated because the comp plan trigger doesn't exist. They can't push plaid on their comp plan. It doesn't exist. So I can turn my plaid off and just put it in comfy mode or sport mode, and I don't get all the plaid benefits. But if I want it, I got it, right? And so you don't care about coding, I get it. You will one day if you build a big group, because this you can't get cut out of. This you can get cut out of, because as other people reach your ranks, you don't get that override on their team anymore. You get it through infinity on everyone. If you recruit someone new, that new rep has you get overrides on all the new reps because they have no area directors or above in their team. But coding, the difference is you can't get cut out of it. Once you build it, you can't get cut out of it. No one, even if they're in the same rank as you, will cut you out ever. When they start, there's a code. It says John Jones is the coded rep. And anyone John ever recruits, it's going to say John Jones as coded rep. And those second level, when they recruit a third level, it's going to say John Jones. John Jones gets a bonus. That's it. It's coded with your name in it. And it's never cut out as those people build and build and build and build and build and build. And anyone it's like a DNA. It's got your DNA. It's called John Jones, and it goes on every new agent you recruit. Once you're an area director, and anyone they recruit and they recruit and they recruit and they recruit and they recruit down through infinity, you can never remove your name from their code. And you'll get a percentage of their personal income forever, almost like you personally enrolled them. Forever, you never get cut out. You're doing 60 million a month in revenue, which some people will do one day, possibly. If we're doing a billion, we're going to have people doing 60 million, right? So you got all that revenue and it's got your code. You get a percentage of all their incomes off their base 20%. You get your percent. So coding is, you can't give it to everyone when they start, but once you reach halfway up the pay plan, you start getting it on anyone new you recruit. Until then, there's someone else code on your name. In our computer, there's someone coded to you. There's someone coded to you right now. But once you break area director, you got someone else's code. We'll just say Lisa Lou is in your little profile. The DNA in you says Lisa, because Lisa was the coded person up the line who started building the team that you became a part of. But once you become area director, now all the people that got you there, they've already got a coded name on it called Lisa Lou, because you were coded to Lisa. So anyone you recruited's got Lisa coded, and anyone they recruited's got Lisa coded. The only time it changes is when you become an area director and you build someone new. That person has got a code that says you, John Jones. Now you're coded on that person. John here, you are on this one, but all these people, anyone they keep recruiting through infinity is still Lisa Lou's. You never get coded on this group. You only get coded on this group. How quickly do you want to get to area director? Do you want that code or do you not? You can't buy your way. You can't fake your way. You can't, well, I'm just going to go put a bunch of people in place and put 10,000 residual revenue and then quit. No. It doesn't work that way. We don't allow that games and shit. It's got to be a real group. But once you're area director and then regional director and national director, you get more codes at every rank. If you don't know about that, you don't realize that we're one of the only companies out there who's willing to share this complicated process so that you can have it. You know, it's probably a good thing that a couple of my friends started a company, became very successful. It's probably a good thing that I was told that I'd be an owner of the training company, and then it never materialized, because as they got more and more successful, I got more and more bitter because I helped them start the company, but I wasn't an owner. So I got more and more bitter that, wait a minute, I'm generating 30% of your revenue or 40. You guys are making millions. I'm not. How does that add up? Just because I didn't force being an owner or because I didn't get that offered to me? Bitter. So I said, I'm never going to let anyone, and by the way, I didn't start this company because of that. I didn't start my own company because of that, but I never forgot it. Coding pay allows you to earn more than the owners. If your group's doing $1 million and the company's only doing 1.5, you're going to be blown away what the owners are making, because you're going to get paid on all $1 million of that code a lot more than the owners are making. And shouldn't it be that way? I think so. Because revenue speaks more than just starting a company. I'm going to start a company. I'm going to go to the state of Michigan and file it. And I'm going to pay for operations. And I'm going to build websites. And I'm going to do all the things required. I'm going to take all the responsibility. And for that, I get paid $20 million and you only get $20,000. That's ridiculous. I want you to be able to earn more than the owners. That allows that to happen. And by the way, I'm the owner, right? So this protects you for long term. This is huge. You don't get cut out of it. Cars, expense accounts, those are perks to get you excited. You can imagine some people are like, man, $1,000 expense account. Yes, my husband's going to be happy that I'm spending the money, or my wife's going to be happy. Hey, it's a car allowance, man. I'm buying a car with it. Expense accounts. Wow, I can get $1,000 to $2,000 a month in expense accounts to travel. And so if I got to go to that event, or if I'm going to go on that cruise, or I'm going to do that, hey, look, I got an expense account, $24,000 a year, man. That's why. So I want to earn that. I want to start getting that. Rev share. Same thing like coding, revenue sharing. By the way, I don't take any revenue sharing from DAC except what the pay plan pays. So revenue sharing, if you get qualified for revenue sharing by reaching some of our top ranks, what do? You get a percentage of the entire company's revenue. Why? Because we know you're helping the entire company even if you're not supporting them individually. You're being an example. You're driving the pay plan. You're creating energy. You're creating success stories. You're duplicating the right behaviors. You're doing everything right. And you should share in the revenue of even people not in your team. And we put you in revenue sharing. We take 2% of all the residual revenue of the company and we split it with these people. Not a percentage of that 2%, 2% of all the residual revenue, and we put it in a pool, and only the revenue sharing participants get to split it. Half of it goes proportionally, and the other half goes based on how much you're doing in your team. So you get most companies don't earn 2% profit. So let's say the average, if you look at public companies in our space, maybe 6 or 7% is the average profit. And they don't profit every year. So what if you only got profit sharing? Well, if there's only 6% profit in the entire company on $1 million in sales, they're only making 60 grand, or 10 million, they're only making 600,000. How much do you get? If you only get profit sharing, sometimes zero. Revenue sharing is built right into our pay plan. It's like another bonus. 2% of the residual revenue goes into a pool and goes back out. It doesn't matter whether we made a profit or not. This is not predicated on us being profitable. None of this pay plan is. You get it whether we're profitable or not. Now, obviously, we got to be mindful and not pay out more than we earn as a whole so that we can keep paying it. But good news is we've been doing this, writing pay plans and launching pay plans since 1998, and we've never had a pay plan that we couldn't pay. All right. So when we forecasted what we'd pay out in bonuses, we were within a 0.25%. When we forecast residually, we're within about 1/8 to 0.5%. We understand, and we know when it's going to go up. We know at what points it starts going up. And we're not concerned. I'm not concerned about that to the slightest. The good news is this isn't our first rodeo, right? We've been bucked off a few times and we realize why we got to hold on to the stirrups a little bit. Rev share, equity share, same thing. Equity share isn't so you can say, I'm an owner. It's because things come along in our industry where companies get bought, companies go public, companies get massive bonuses. Do you know some of our contracts have a bonus if we hit certain numbers and those companies go public or those companies get bought? And right now, if you're not in the equity share, you're not entitled to any of that. Although my mindset is, of course, I'd find a way to distribute that equitably to the right people. But here, the great thing is, when I say right, by performance, not by friendship. Equity share, once you get it, you automatically then you don't have to worry about whether the Ruts wants to. My first company we launched, we had put a incentive in the pay plan that says if you reach this rank, same type thing as this, and we ever go public, we're going to give you a percentage of what our proceeds are. Or if the company we represent ever goes public, we're going to give you a percentage of whatever our proceeds are. Or if we're ever purchased or a significant part of our business is purchased, we're going to give you a percentage of that. And it was in the pay plan. And I used to, just like I'm mentioning it tonight, I used to talk about it all the time. But if it's not written in the pay plan, do you have to honor it? If it's just a philosophy that's not written down in the terms and agreements of the compensation plan, do you have to honor it? No. So this is on here so that you can see we're not joking around. We got to honor it now. You could sue us if we don't. This is liable. Now we do have disclaimers that say if we're not, if your state doesn't allow it, then we can't do it. Obviously, if something changes in the world of the FTC and they say you can't incent people who start their own business with equity because now you're giving unfair enticement, or if there's a rule that passes, then obviously we got to do away with it. But assuming there's not, these are all reasons to become a leader and value your leadership. These are all reasons to get started and put up some customers. Now, there's one other thing I didn't talk about, which is compression on your 7-level pay. So when you get your 7-level pay, there's going to be some people inactive. I think about a group that I still earn significant residual from every month. It's only a 7-level, actually it's a 6-level pay, but a lot of those people in my first 6 levels are gone. They're not even active. But people in their team down below them, down below them, down below them, down below them. If you keep going on down, also level 8 is like my first level. It's the first person active. Well, I wouldn't get paid on it if they didn't have compression. So compression just means this month, and we calculate your check, if level 1 through 6, there's no activity, but level 7, there's 1, we take that person, compress them up to level 1 just for the commission calculation. We don't remove those first 6. We just move that up to level 1. And then we look below them. Is there anyone active with 50 or more residual revenue? That's the active level. 50 or more residual. Now your 9th level didn't, your 10th, your 11th, your 12th. This is under one leg. Your 13th. Oh, there's someone. They become your 2nd level. And your 15th level had activity. They become your 3rd for this month. So we compress like Blinko or whatever that game is on Price is Right. Each leg, it shuffles itself up. And now you got to compact 7 levels instead of an empty 7 levels. If there's activity down below your level 7, it compresses up through all the inactive levels this month. Boom. And now you got a more compressed revenue stream and personal income stream that you're getting paid on. That's compression. People don't understand the value of that until your leg matures. I've been getting a residual for one company I can think of for almost 20 years. And you know how many people of those are inactive? But fortunately, because of compression, I don't make anything on that group because no, they're still producing revenue, 30th level, 60th level, but I may get paid as my 3rd level because the 40 people in between aren't active. So we know the value of compression. We earn from it, and we want you to earn from it. If you don't share it, you miss people who know the importance of it. Everything on this board has a reason. I could erase half of it. Half of it could be erased, and no one would know the difference because they don't talk about it. And we could still make the business sound exciting. I just wouldn't be able to sleep at night because I would know the risk you have long term. I don't know of a risk in network marketing and home-based business. Not one risk do I know of that we're chancing it on. Not one. Every risk I'm aware of, we've done away with, even if it makes it harder to build a business. It's just gone. The risk is gone. So it makes it complex to do a biz op meeting short. It makes it hard to do a comp plan overview short. Yeah, I get it. It's not the simplest expression of the business. So that's why it's important that people watch these. And that's why it's important that we have a plan that's inclusive of these highlights. Because otherwise, why do I need to get $200 in residual revenue? What am I going to make? $40 a month. I don't have any urgency to do that. 40 a month, they cost me more at Taco Bell. It's not going to change my life to earn $40. Why would I go get 200? Why would I have any urgency? And why would I get 700? What am I in? Woohoo, 30, I make $210 a month. It's not really changing my life. You see why you got to get 1,000? 7-level bump up. You only have one chance to do it and it's gone. See why you got to retain it? Because once you fall out, you got 90 days to get back in or you're gone. It's gone. So you want consistent revenue. Why do you want 2,000? You make 50% personal, 50% enroller. You want to make 50% enroller. You want it. You want it. And then when you consider these things, now I have a reason. When you consider this, I have a reason to get fundings. And I didn't even go through the overrides. You don't get overrides unless you have clients. So I wrote it up here, but these are the reasons you want to get active clients. Personal commissions can double, and roller commissions, instead of being 0, can be 50% by getting one client a month, one new client a month. 600 bonus revenue or more, which is like a 6,000 funding, new client every month. But all this can be confusing. I get it. If you don't understand this, know that we have it in there and we're going to be doing in our Saturday trainings and things we're going to be going through just like we are now, showing some different things with some scenarios. And if you don't follow all this, but you want to be a leader, just remember this. Get customers is what you got to do and don't stop. Never stop. If you believe in the product, never stop. And build a team who does the same. Build a team who gets customers. If you need help getting them to get customers, tell them about this and tell them about this, and they'll have more of a reason to get customers. If you need help getting them to build a team to get customers, tell them about this. And as you tell them about these things, they start going, wow, I could actually earn retirement walkaway income here. I can build equity. I can get a revenue sharing cash cow. I can get expense accounts for my home-based business. I can get a car allowance for my home-based business. Are you kidding me? I can start building a permanent group that I own without having to start my own company. I can really start my own company. I don't have any risk of losing money or funding it. And I can get a percentage of all the revenue through Infinity and never get cut out. My DNA code is in it. You're kidding? Holy cow. And I can get overrides as I earn higher ranks on the level. So here's my reason to get customers, because my team personal commissions go up, 7-level pay bump goes up. Enroller commission goes up. I want 50% enroller commission, not 20. I want 50, and I certainly don't want 0. So I need to get to 200. Personal, man, I want 80% instead of 40. And I want 50% enroller bonus instead of zero. Man, I need that. And I want all those and I want all this. And last thing I'll say, I was doing some research on the benefits of being a landlord doing homes because I compare recruiting person or building a team here to like having rental properties. And I started looking at the research of rental properties, and I'm not going to quote a lot of it today. I have 16 things to share. It'll be a separate training I do as a little, just a YouTube training. Why network marketing versus real estate rentals. And the biggest thing that I got from it is the average person out there. I forget the number. I don't want to say the wrong number, but the amount of money you have to spend annually, I want to say it's $3,000 plus a year per property, just in expenses that have nothing to do with your mortgage payment. So, and the average person is making, I don't want to say this again, but it's about 10,000 a year profit if their portfolio is over $400,000 in units. They average about 10,000 a year. And they have risk, lawsuits, attorneys, fees, expenses, no matter what, whether the house is rented or not. And management companies, or you got to do it yourself. 10,000 area director, you can't make less than 10,000 a year. So would you rather build yourself to area director or have $400,000 worth of properties? And you go, yeah, but the 400,000 could go up. Yeah, ask all the people in 2008 who went bankrupt because their property values went down and they couldn't afford the mortgage. Ask all the corporations right now. Ask all the banks who are losing boatloads of money as buildings are forfeited. I'm not saying they may not go up, but they could. And if you're got to buy $400,000 worth of real estate, what if you just put $400,000 into the stock market and you made 12% a year on that? That's 48,000 a year you're going to make on that 400,000. So do you want to make 10,000 a year in real estate for your $400,000 investment or 48,000 in the stock market? I know you got to sit there over time. Yeah, but David, I could mortgage my real estate. Yeah, you can, as long as you can afford to pay it in case your renter leaves or gets evicted. 85% of the people who own real estate never collect full rent. 85% payment is average, not 100%, 85%. So you better calculate 85. And I want to say the amount of time people are without renters is 3 to 4 months between renters. I got to pull up all this research. I was like, man, this is a risky business. And people say network marketing is rough. Hey, you got to build a team. You got to manage some things. Look at all this stuff on the board. But if you have zero risk involved except your time, or with those other things, you have time and money at risk. I can't, it's hard to argue for me for you having 1,000 good producers at the $1,000 level and be making six figures every year as they're all making great money. And what are they going to build into? So if I'm you, this is why everything we do, this is the last thing I want to say. The starting strategy you're going to see launch soon, the game plans you're going to see launch soon are all based. They're not based on helping someone make $300. I mean, they'll show that along the way. They're all based on helping you get to full time. Because I've realized the top 3% people do, top 13% do 80% of the company's revenue. I'm appealing to the 13%. That's who I'm going to appeal to. I want to have a plan for the 13 percenters because they create the revenue of the company. When we're doing, when the Inc. 500 says you're one of the fastest growing companies, it's because you got 200 people who are 10 percenters getting after it. Not 2,000, 200 getting after it, and you'll do millions in revenue. So the game plans have to have something for the startup person. They got to cover this for the startup who's never going to try to get to the top levels. But everything we do is based on hitting RVP or above. Team builders. You want to get personal commissions, you're an affiliate. We got an affiliate plan for you. Watch that. But if you want to build and you want to get out of your job and you want to build a team, then this is the way you want to do it. The duplicable way that creates production, that gets people who want to produce, not gets people who doesn't. So that's what I was taught in my early days. I've believed it, I've lived it, and I've benefited from it. And I've seen all kinds of plans that don't do it. And if you don't do that, you don't duplicate and you build teams for 6 months who leave and 8 months who leave. So I think what we're releasing is going to be best for everyone to just do it the DAC way. And it may be a little more complicated for some. but it's going to be complete and it's going to attract the producers. And there's people right now watching this and go, crap, the company I am does not do this. The company I'm in does not do that. The company I am does not do that. The company I am, they ought to give me these. But I got to actually go buy the car. Man, I wish I had that. The company I am doesn't give anyone a reason to do any more than their $200, except they still make 20% on whatever they get. They don't give you a reason on a 7-level bump up. They don't give me any of these things. And it's no wonder it's hard for me to get my team to be active. Well, if you don't share it, it's like we don't have it either. Any questions? Let's take some questions right now, and then we will bounce out of here. Anyone have questions about this? Man, you guys have been really, really hands down. Love it. All right, guys, have a great week. More stuff's piling through. We're getting stuff proofread, documents proofread, adding paragraphs to things to make them more clear, etc. So it's all coming, and hopefully this has been beneficial. Our RX plan, a meeting tonight or this afternoon. Tyler's on his way here right now to the office, and we're going to meet about the fundraiser pages, the group enrollment pages, and a sorting page for large organizations who want to either market Bank Breezy or market the RX product, or launch them to their large associations, et cetera, as an affiliate, as a super affiliate, basically. So we're doing landing pages for that too, so you can just refer people there. So we're trying to attract. I've done more calls on large groups with this pharmacy plan than any other product we have. It's very attractive to people. It's innovative. It's definitely a winner for people. So appreciate you all. Don't miss out on this. Put a goal in place and start shooting for it. Your team will, unless you quit, your team will have a big 7-level one day, and it may only be 3,000 a month, not as big as someone else's 50,000 a month. But 3,000 or 3,600, what do you prefer? All you got to do is get some customers, get to the 1,000 within your first year, or by the end of May, if you started before that. And it's not hard to get to 1,000 before May. It's 100 RX customers. You could literally do that in a week if that's all you focused on for a week. So you got to go out. It's 25 of the ClearShare customers, right? But the 100 RX are the easiest because you get now revenue. You don't have to wait 3 months for your revenue. May 31st is coming. So you get customers in April, they may not be in May. So this is February and March. You want to compress all your time to get to your 1,000 residual revenue now if you started before May of this year. And if you didn't, go qualify for it anyway. God bless you all. Appreciate you.